There, I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. Just coming on here, we've been streaming here with you, talking all day about these storms moving across the primarily southeastern areas of Georgia. All this has been staying away from Jacksonville. But what we have right now is this one has a special weather statement on it. Kind of jumping into here, give you the latest and greatest on what's happening with this. Because if you're in Homerville, we've had one storm kind of after another. They've almost been training. You've got several inches of precipitation setting up here. But the big thing we're watching right now is this line of storms. Now, we do have kind of some outflow boundaries crashing into each other here. So there is a lot of air moving around. But what we have been seeing indicated on radar is actually a little bit of rotation. We can actually scroll this back just a little bit. And it was just a few minutes ago, a pretty tight little couplet there east of Homerville, southwest of Manor, heading towards Waycross. Now, since then, that rotation has weakened just a bit, and this is upper level. It's about 6,000 feet to the atmosphere, so there's definitely not ground truth down near the surface. What we're seeing now is even a secondary couplet kind of forming up on the back side of that. When I say couplet, I'm talking about the winds going to and from the radar. So we got some winds blowing away, and then coming in just like that. Earlier we had it just right around there. You see what I'm talking about. Wind moving away means red. Wind coming towards the radar means green. So we got a couple areas here that are interesting, to say the least. And if you couple that with this, it's our CC scan. Now, it doesn't look like much is there right now, but just a few minutes ago, we did have this little burst just around Argyle and Manor. Now, what this is indicating, those little pockets in white, especially when you have that right over top of a couplet, could be something getting lofted into the atmosphere that is not meteorologically indicated. Now, it doesn't mean there's a tornado on the ground, but it could be some strong winds kind of blowing up leaves or something into the atmosphere. And even if you get that, you get some leaves kind of kicking off, it can fool with the radar a bit and say, hey, there's debris being tossed. My point is, we have a special weather statement out on this. This storm, it's got a lot of interesting movement around it. So I would say that for our friends in the Waycross area, I zoomed out a little bit too much there, but our friends in the Waycross area probably should be getting ready for a nice little kicker of a storm coming on through. I know you've already gotten passed by a couple storms. Thunder's already kind of rumbling here too. You can see some lightning just towards the west of Waycross and another one just towards the east there. In fact, let's pull up our camera. I believe this is out of Waycross I have up right now. Okay, there we go. So that's kind of what it looks like right now. Let's see if we have any other shots. We have a couple DOT cameras around the city here. Let's see. Okay, this one, and here's the other deal. It's 6:50. People are, heading home. This one's showing, Waycross isn't the busiest city in the world, but there are people out there on the roadways, and this rain is going to be starting to come down fairly heavy in the next few minutes here. So, yeah, keeping an eye on that. Somebody's continuing to write me here. Let me make sure that it's nothing. Okay, because I did just reach out to the National Weather Service asking them about this area. Don't want to be too far separated from them, but definitely watching this as it kicks off towards the north and west. So, once again, if you're jumping in here with us, we are under a weather impact alert day here on the First Coast. We actually had a tornado watch earlier on. It has since expired at 6 o'clock, but despite it expiring, we still have some decent storms firing up out there. Now, none of these are near Jacksonville, and it looks like a little bit later on this evening we still could see some rain in Jacksonville. I think everybody's going to get some rain. Might even be closer to midnight for our friends right along the eastern seaboard. But where we had the highest chance of severe weather today, and we said this time and time again, it's not just trying to hype this. You guys make sure you watch the details when we say where the worst of the weather will be. It's been across, Suwannee County, southeastern areas of Georgia. This is where you're kind of seeing that highest chance of severe thunderstorms. And it's these little cells, these discrete cells that kick off from time to time that have the highest threat for severe weather. And right now we are seeing that just south and west of Waycross, heading towards the Waycross area. In fact, let's zoom right in. You can see some pretty decent lightning in there. We got a couple little kind of notches trying to pop off, and this is what I'm talking about. See, just southeast of Manor, you got something right in there, and you got something right in there. And if we look at our Yeah, so that's what's happening. So you have a little bit of inflow going in right there, feeding into the secondary cell, some outflow, and vice versa, just south of Waycross. So this is elevated. More than likely, this is not ground truth. We're not seeing rotation on the ground, at least based on everything we're seeing right now. But it is indicative of a fairly strong storm system. Winds right now inside of this estimated to be about 40 to 50 miles per hour, according to the National Weather Service. I did ask them a few minutes ago if they can get some feedback. I still haven't heard back from them, so they must not be thinking it's very serious in that scenario. But you know what? We're meteorologists here. We try our best to keep you guys informed, and that's why we wanted to jump on and kind of track this, especially since a few minutes ago, I did see that little CC scan right here, just around Manor, just towards the west there. It looked like something popped and something was getting lofted into the atmosphere, and it very well could have been anything like leaves or dust or something like that, because the radar can tell the difference between something that is hydrological or something that is geological, basically debris, So yeah, kind of interesting. Little cell here. It is not being warned on right now, but it is looking, it's got a couple little spots in there. Now, if we go back, we got to take a look at, the height of it. And for our friends in Waycross, this update is mainly for you. Let's do a little cross analysis. Just south and west of Waycross, there's a spike in tops over, about 35, near 40,000 feet. This could even have hail in it, since it is so high up. The core of it's below 20,000 feet. You could just see some little upper levels. But you know what I do see here is one of the inflow notches. You can kind of see it right here, how the bottom is being taken out of that storm. That is indicating a little bit of flow going into it, which, once again, that broad rotation I was talking about here just a moment ago. So, yeah, it's a complex little weather setup here. It's not severe warned, but if you are out here in Waycross, I do personally think that it's going to be kicking on some wind. So we're going to stay with you here. Watch us push on through. Of course, we have First Coast News at 7. Jackson, are we going to be going off at 7 o'clock so we can switch over, or you want to keep talking on this?
We are not on the rundown, so we can keep going.
All right. So I got the go-ahead that I can keep talking as long as I want. And you know what? I'm here. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. So here's a live look out at the Waycross, Ware County Parks area, Park and Rec area there, just west of Waycross. Beautiful spot. Some clouds kind of building in. Nothing too serious at this time, but we're going to stand by, wait until this gets a little bit closer to the city. And then we can even look just, I like this shot because kind of get a good idea of the winds kicking up out of this. And it looks like even in just the last few frames there. So, yeah, you can see kind of the rain really starting to come down. This is just north of that. These sort of heavy showers, people kind of going home on their evening commute with this cell. Yeah, the lights are waving around a little bit there. Nothing too crazy. Probably why we have a special weather statement in place versus a severe thunderstorm. Like I said, that rotation is extra elevated, but it is there nonetheless, and a reason why we're jumping on here. Let's see if we got any questions or anything like that. Jackson, if you can, do you have it up? The stream's up. Have you seen any questions come through? Oh, here we go. Read the caption. Where at? Oh, yeah. Okay. Excuse me. I'm reading the comments here. So, yeah, this is Waycross here, as we said at the captions. But I'm also talking kind of a broader view here, too. So if you're not in Waycross and you want to know about your specific area, feel free to jump in. I'm not gonna get mad at you guys. I do like that interaction and talking with you about what's happening out here around the First Coast. Right now, though, Waycross is about the only spot currently seeing these strong thunderstorms, and it does look like actually that this special weather statement and now a severe thunderstorm warning has just popped. All right, so they did just issue a severe thunderstorm warning on this. I am happy. Good call. Behind the scenes here for jumping on here. We had a feeling this one was going to get severe warned. We're seeing that broad rotation, and now they have said 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And, Jackson, you're going to hear this, and everybody at home, a possible tornado. It's not tornado warned, but they're saying there is a possible tornado around Needham, Waycross, and the Blackshear area. Remain alert for the possible tornado as they can develop up quickly here. So we're going to treat this as if there's not a confirmed tornado by any means here, but if you are watching, you're just jumping on. We came on here before this was saying, we're watching these couplets here, and right there, look how tight that has gotten just south of Waycross. This is elevated about 5,000 to 6,000 feet. A radar beam can't bend around the curvature of the Earth, so it's coming in out of Jacksonville, and as it goes further out, obviously it's going to have to be a little bit elevated. So every time you see this pass, we're sinking about 5,000 to 6,000 feet here. Now, what's interesting though, let's go. Oh, whoa. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I apologize.
Looks like noise.
Yeah, I think that is noise right in there. Okay. All right. I just wanted to check it. I wanted to check our CC scan because, yeah, that's a little bit spread out there, but it is just west of Waycross.
Looks like something.
There's definitely tight rotation in here. So I wouldn't be surprised if the National Weather Service does issue a tornado warning on this. That is a lot. Look at that. That is right in downtown Waycross right now. Can you throw this on the full screen? Let's, because you can see the sheets of rain kicking through there. That is solid. I mean, just look at the steady wind coming in from the west to the east there. I wish we had sound on this camera. Yeah, that's a classic, First Coast strong storm. Whoa. Yeah, for our friends in Waycross, if anybody is watching out of Waycross right now or any of the surrounding towns there, give me a shout. Let me know how's it going there right now, because it's looking pretty nasty on this specific camera here. Trying to bounce around. I'm going to go to the east side of well, that person needs to slow down right there. See them blast right through. That's okay. So it hasn't hit here just yet. This is on the east side of the city. Looks a little damp, but the cell is actually moving in to there right now. I say city. I'm going to give some love to Waycross. I know you're a big town, but yeah. So while we're going to wait on that kind of coming through there, I'm going to pop back to the radar here. Once again, a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30 p.m. for a possible tornado here right over Waycross in Ware County. It's not a tornado warning, but it is kind of indicating some broad rotation and elevated. The point is, there's a lot of lightning. We're looking at winds possibly up to 60 miles per hour, which is why we jumped on here. We actually jumped on before it did pop a severe thunderstorm warning, because we were seeing the signs that this was going to be getting stronger. And there it is, tornado warning. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to go over to the studio here. I'm going to keep talking if we get Ross in there. We do have a tornado warning now. There it is on the ground, radar indicated, at least at this point, from the National Weather Service. And calling that before, like 15 minutes before it was issued here, guys. A severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing a tornado. It is a radar indicated rotation. And what we're seeing right now is, that you want to take cover now. So Jackson, what's our plan right now?
I'm gonna toss to Ross.
All right, is he already in the studio?
Yeah.
All right. So just tell me, you want me to toss to him right now?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, so we're going to bring in Ross Muma. He is over in the studio right now. We got this radar indicated tornado warning over Waycross. So we're going to continue streaming here on FCM Plus, but also cutting into our live coverage. Ross?
So once you have that, it's hard to beat.
I feel pretty good. Obviously Houston's a great team. They're going to bring everything they got, but it's going to be a lot of fun either way. But I think the Gators can pull it out.
Well, after a game like that, you got to believe you could do anything. The Gators are tough. They're here for a reason. We're all number one, so they get to play it on the court. But you got to like your team after a game like that.
Final score.
Final score. I'm gonna go Houston 70, Gators 69.
All right, thank you, man. Is it gonna be a buzzer beater?
All right, so we're going to come back on the stream here. We're talking sports on the other one. We want to get you guys informed. Yeah, tight rotation just around Waycross here. I'm a little out of breath. I just ran to the studio. Now I'm coming back here. Yeah, just passed over Waycross. Hopefully, we were able to warn you guys ahead of this broad rotation here. We actually came on about 20 minutes ago talking about the possibility of a tornado. Tornado warning, though, was issued by the National Weather Service here. And actually, I'm going to pull up the warning so I can read it off for you. For hail 3/4 of an inch in diameter. This is also moving towards the northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So already kind of blasted right past the Waycross area. But where that rotation is actually right over where we did just have our live camera out there on the east side of Waycross. So this is east, yeah, this is where kind of the rotation is passing over. You see the frequent lightning kicking off right now. Wilkerson Strait and Waycross, and oh my goodness, there's a lot. Look at the camera shaking. Can we put this on full screen? Get me off of here. Look at the lights. Yeah, this is right under that rotation right now. The winds are actually shifting. You can see the wind shifting from the east here on the camera. They were coming in from the south just a moment ago. This is, I mean, I'm not saying there's a tornado on the ground, but this is definitely, and look at the frequent lightning kicking off right in the middle of this severe thunderstorm. My point is, this is nothing you want to be outside in right now. So our friends in Waycross, hopefully if you're watching on us on FCN Plus or anything like that, make sure you're getting inside, especially if you're just north and east of Waycross. You are inside in a safe place away from windows right now. We have a radar indicated tornado warning in place. And velocity we're going to jump over to velocity and see that frequent lightning kicking off right there in Waycross. So what we're going to do is pull up our radar scan here. This is velocity. See that tight couplet there just north and east of Waycross. So that is directly over where we had our camera, just showing you right in there. That's where it is. Heading up towards the northeast along 84, just probably going to pass south of Blackshear in the next about 10 to 15 minutes. So you got a little time to prepare if you're in any of these communities, basically stretching off like that. But I mean, based on what we're seeing right there on the camera, I'll go back to the live look here on the camera. There's at least a severe thunderstorm warning. Things are kicking around here. All right, it seems like Ross is actually on right now if you want to jump over to his feed.
Already see there, I drew that cone just literally 60 seconds ago, and it has already advanced quickly to the northeast of there. So I'm going to put another cone on this, give you guys some head time on how quickly this thing will be approaching you and your neighborhood, your town and backyard. So Blackshear, you have until 7:12, Pierce County Hospital until 7:13, Owen 7:18, Patterson you have until 7:23, and Offerman until 7:25. So meteorologist Robert Speta, he has been doing a fantastic job on streaming, tracking these all evening long. He's just joined me out here live in the studio. So
Ross, I do want to pull up I'm going to just jump over to Max 1 real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to pull up the Waycross. Now on our screen here.
Oh, I don't think your mic's not up here just yet.
Ground mics?
So this is a live look out in Waycross. I'm getting some mixed minus in my ear then too as well, folks. But some very, very heavy rain. There's
yeah, that's our live look in Waycross. And just a moment ago, we were actually seeing what, it may not have been a tornado on the ground, but you could see the winds coming from the south and probably an inflow or an outflow boundary hitting. And it was coming in from the southeast towards the northwest, and just kind of indicating that broad rotation that we have been seeing here on radar, kind of verified on our camera here right now. But we'll jump back over to Max 2 and kind of take a look at where this is right now here for you, Ross.
Yeah, no, as I said, and this is an area that literally, 15 minutes before the newscast started, we had said, there's some level of rotation there. We were watching it very, very closely. And then at the top of the hour, severe thunderstorm warning got put out. And 2-3 minutes after that, that rotation and that couplet tightened up rather significantly. And hence, we got that tornado warning issued. Again, that runs until 7:30. So Robert just kind of moved that cone there to give you a better idea of where we're looking at. So Pierce County Middle School, you have until 7:17, so that's 8 minutes. And again, this thing is moving very, very quickly to the northeast, and the radar scan is likely 1 or 2 minutes behind. So although the tightest area of rotation is now moving off to the east-northeast of Waycross, it's likely a little bit closer to actually where that first line is in the cone, simply just due to how quickly it is moving here. So this is something that we thought could certainly be possible. There's plenty of heating. There's a lot of low-level moisture out there as well. Temperatures reach the upper 80s in some locations, and the low-level wind shear has been rather significant. Now, surface winds have been anywhere from about 15 to 20, even 25 miles per hour, but those upper-level winds, especially as the trough moves over us, also adding a lot of extra rotation within the mid-level. So it all, it's a vertical stack, the atmosphere. So you add all of those things together, that is why we do now have at least one storm that has shown significant rotation in our first tornado warning of the day. So there you can see it, tightest area of rotation now moving out of Ware County into southern Pierce. If you live on the south side of Blackshear, you need to be sure you're taking your tornado precautions. So get inside, get into either the lowest or at least the innermost part of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. So get away from the windows. Inner bathroom and inner closet, stairwell will be perfect for this. You're only going to need to stay hunkered down in there for a few minutes. Again, this thing is booking it over to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. So although that doesn't give you a lot of lead time, it is going to be a very short-lived storm that at least rolls on through. So Robert just put another time out there for you. So 7:12 for Blackshear High School, Pine Grove Church 7:17, Otter Creek until 7:21, and 7:23 for Laurel Chapel for the timing of when this tornado-warned storm could be making its way towards your neighborhood, your backyard, your house here this evening. So again, this tornado warning runs until 7:30 p.m. Ware County is included in this, but
Ross,
primarily just for Pierce and Brindley. Yeah,
jump
go ahead.
in right behind you here. We got, you see that lightning increasing. Look at the lights here. This is out of Blackshear, so we got the leading edge of this tornado warned cell, and you're seeing the winds just, can we throw this up on the full screen? That way, there we go. So you get a good view of what we're talking about here, a solid, and even outside of the tornado warning, like if you say, okay, well, it's radar indicated, it's not confirmed, it is still a severe storm. So we still have 50 to 60 mile per hour winds here that, that's the stuff that could toss things around, enough to maybe rip off roof shingles and things like that. And you definitely don't want to be driving in this, not to mention.
When I was going to say, just look at the rain blowing across the road there. Yeah,
the rain sheets, you can really see it here. And this is not to mention, that frequent lightning kicking off. So hopefully we don't have anybody outside here right now as this is kicking on by. We'll go back to that severe thunderstorm, and like I said, tornado warning. We've been watching this. This is until 7:30 p.m. For that radar indicated tornado. But what I want to show you here, Ross, is just enlighten me here. So we were actually we came on our FCN Plus, and for those who are watching us in FCN Plus, we came on about 20 minutes before this was tornado warned, because we were looking at that chance of it becoming tornado warned south and west of Waycross, actually just south of a manor there. And then you can see that couplet. And Ross, we'll throw it on the screen. Can we throw it on the full screen? And so Ross can kind of point out where this couplet is.
Yeah.
And then you see how it kind of moves towards the north and east.
There was actually really two of them, but this is the tornado warned one. So typically if you get two side by side, one area of rotation typically surges forward and kind of outdoes the other in strength. So the forward motion one certainly took hold of that and has continued to show quite a pretty strong couplet. So these are your inflow winds here, your outflow winds wrapping right around. So this area, what is that, highway?
420 or 121.
Okay, so highway
just southeast of Blackshear.
Yeah, so just southeast of Blackshear, headed towards Otter Creek. So if you're in Otter Creek, hopefully you are hunkered down and taking your tornado precautions here this evening. I'm going to toss up the
CC scan here. Just
yep.
That seems like a lot of clutter in there. But earlier we were seeing something that may have been debris lofted into the atmosphere. Can't really confirm it. It's not a good debris ball kind of at this point. So,
and whether you happen to see a funnel cloud or tornado or not, as Robert mentioned, this is a severe warned storm as well. So wind gusts could still be seen of at least 50 to 60 miles per hour. Whereas, I mean, even if you do get a tornado on the ground, you could easily see winds closer to 80 to 100 miles per hour. So this is a very serious situation. Also a lot of lightning, very, very heavy rain. Robert did a great job of pulling this camera up here, showing this intersection. So this is not a good time to, one, be outside, but especially out there on the roadways. Wow, just look at the rain blowing across the road there. So some very, very gusty winds. Wow, that is just a lot, Robert.
It is blowing for sure. I mean, just based on my eyeballing it here, this is definitely at least up to 30, 40 mile per hour winds, but I'm sure they're getting those gusts a bit higher. And this looks like the worst of it's almost past, because it was getting a little bit higher there just a minute ago. And that's basically because this is racing towards the north and east at about 55 miles per hour, so it is not taking its time. Tornado warning, by the way, just extended to 7:45, and you can see how far that cone goes out, all the way out through Brantley, Pierce, and into Wayne County. Kind of getting out of our immediate, what we call our DMA, where a lot of you here on the First Coast can kind of tune in and watch once we get north of New Junta. But still, I mean, if you're in New Junta and you're heading north to Jessup, and it's not that we don't want to cover the weather there in Jessup, it's just getting a little bit north there. But if you're anywhere between New Junta and Jessup on 301, this, pretty tight rotation here, I would not be traveling on that road. If you're anybody in that area, you probably, take your phone, and get that First Coast News app open. You can go into your safe place and watch from there once this passes on by. But
Robert, can we zoom out and show the overall picture just so folks?
Of course.
So in Jacksonville kind of know what's going on here as well?
Yeah, because in Jacksonville, you're right, it's not that bad. We've had a windy day.
Yeah, so if you live in Duval, Nassau County, St. Johns County, you might be thinking there's storms outside. Yes, we have a very strong, potent line of storms that we have continued to watch. They have trained over the same locations. Homerville was one of those that Robert and I were looking at that have now probably already picked up over 1.5 inches, if not closer to 2 inches. But where Pierce, Brantley, northern Charleston County have been one of those areas that have seen a lot of training showers and downpours and storms pretty much all through the late afternoon and now into the evening hours. So the cold front pushing all this is still well off to our northwest. So all of this will eventually work its way closer to Jacksonville and that I-95 corridor once we get really past 8 p.m. and throughout the rest of this evening. So this is still that big storm that is tornado warned. So as you heard Robert mention, still runs until 7:45, but is now just for Brantley and Pierce counties, correct, Robert?
Yeah, it's just northeast of Ware Cross, so we are heading out to Brantley, Pierce County, south of Bristol, north of Hoboken. At some point, this starts to exit our DMA, so for everybody upstairs, if you do want to jump in our ears and tell us to go back to streaming, just let me know. But for now, we are going to stay with you guys that are watching out of Brantley, Pierce County, now exiting Ware County with this current tornado warning. So I'll let you guys make that call once it's a little bit further towards the north if you want to go back to your regular programming. But I mean, we're maybe not quite yet. I mean, still Blackshear, between Blackshear and Hoboken, kind of getting this right now, and we'll just go right back in. That is still a fairly tight couplet in here. That's meaning, as Ross just mentioned a moment ago, the inflow and outflow kind of, and you see the radar beam. So that radar beam is, it's looking at this storm, but it can only see if wind is moving away or if wind is moving towards. The thing with it is that it is elevated. This radar beam is in Jacksonville. It can't see around the curvature of the earth. So we have that elevated rotation, but it's about 5,000–6,000 feet up. So we're not quite getting that ground truth. It's still very tight enough that I wouldn't be surprised if this is mixing down towards the surface. Ross?
Can you just put a track on this quick to time it out for people downstream of here?
Yeah.
Although it is getting close to the edge of our DMA, I still want to give anyone who kind of lives on the fringes of eastern part of Pierce County, northern Brantley County, give you guys a heads up on the exact
trying to get an exact motion here. That's why I'm looping it back and forth so we can get kind of a really good view.
Yeah, so Trudy until 7:31, Hortons Memorial Church, O'Neill, Manningtown. You have until about 7:45. So yeah, at that point then we're moving out. So probably I'd say only another perhaps 10, maybe 15 minutes within the Pearson-Brantley County area before it quickly moves off to the northeast and away from the first coast. I would suspect, though, areas on the southeast side of Blackshear, especially on kind of that southern and southeastern corner, probably getting some very, very strong inflow winds, especially considering our surface winds themselves are out of the southwest right now. But those getting wrapped around and up into not only the updraft, but kind of just overall vortex and rotation, suspect some very, very strong winds within, or kind of out ahead, I guess I should say, of that storm itself, let alone the downdraft winds when you do get the very, very strong and heavy rain that we saw in that picture there, or that camera that Robert pulled up earlier. So
actually, we have a camera, and if we do kind of go out of this back to FCN Plus, I do want to let you guys know we do have a camera right ahead of where this rotation is. Now, this is north of Nahunta. It's a weather stem camera. It doesn't look too bad there right now, but as we know, this is moving fast. So these conditions, it has those kind of eerie clouds there. I would give it 10 minutes. It's going to be like we were just seeing out of Blackshear, where we saw the lights blowing from side to side, as we saw in Waycross about 20 minutes ago. In Waycross, we could actually see the winds blowing from one direction. Then I think we hit like an outflow boundary. They shifted from the other way, kind of indicating some ground truth of at least elevated rotation there. So this is good news about our weather stem network. We're able to kind of see where this stuff is. And we're not trying to hype this up. This is actually a pretty legit rotation here on radar right now. And just going back to...
well, and Robert, I was just going to add to that, if you want to toss the picture up here just real quick.
Which one, the camera there?
Yeah, the camera that you just had. One other thing, and you can either agree or disagree, but it doesn't look like those clouds are real low. I'm not seeing a whole lot of scud. I know this is out ahead of it, but typically that is a good sign. If your clouds are a little bit higher, if you have those real low clouds, much easier for any sort of funnel or rotation that develops to eventually get pulled down to the ground. So
I do agree. It doesn't look that bad there right now. I would give it a few more minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to flip it over to Hoboken. This is just towards the south. Now, there's a little bit of a low cloud right there. You can kind of see the shelf. So this is just east of where our tornado warning is right at this moment. I'll put it on the radar. So if we pull up our velocity scan here, and I know for you guys out here in Hoboken, you know exactly where this stuff is, you know your area here, but basically that cloud I was just showing you just a moment ago is due south of where that rotation is. There's Blackshear, Hoboken. This is moving towards the north and east. Where I just had that camera that didn't look that bad, it was right in that area where I'm kind of putting that arrow up, just north of Hortense Memorial Church there on 301. So all that kind of moving off towards the north and east. I got to clear up this screen.
yeah, I was going to say, take that track off so you can see the arrow.
Yeah, let's clear up the screen. So that is a tight rotation.
Yeah, so if you live right there along Highway 301, that is a very strong looking coupler. That is headed right toward you there.
Oops, apologize for that. I jumped off. See, right there on Patterson, I think that's clutter on the CC scan, but we'll continue to hop back towards that. But the point is, I mean, it's radar indicated, sure, but a really tight couplet here. And once again, 301 basically off towards Route 32 from Patterson, just east of Patterson. You know what, we're going to zoom right in on here. Let's take a look at the road. So Trudy Road, Hortense, that's where we just had our camera out of. So it was right there, Hortense on 301 is where we have our
pretty much right over Laura Chapel Road.
yeah, Laurel Chapel Road, just southeast of there, kind of moving east-northeast, as mentioned, about 50 miles per hour. I'm going to jump back. I'll pull back the picture here, Ross.
Yeah.
And let you talk here, because I'm going to pull back the other camera.
Well, I just want to say, if you're just now tuning in and joining us, we do have a tornado warning in effect for Brantley, Pierce, and now into Ware County. That runs until 7:45 p.m. This is along an entire cold front that has brought rain and storms to portions of inland southeast Georgia and the Floridian Panhandle throughout the late afternoon and into the early evening hours. But is capable of producing upwards of 50 to even 60 mile per hour wind gusts. And again, that tornado warning now making its way off to the southeast of Blackshear, and will soon be really crossing out of our area and into southern Wayne County, likely within about the next 10 to 15 minutes. But stay in your safe place if you do happen to live in one of these locations. So although it is a very, very quick moving storm and will pass over quite fast and quite quickly, you still want to stay in your safe spot until we give the okay. So that's an innermost hallway or bathroom or closet. You just want to make sure you put as many walls between you and the outside as you possibly can here. So get away from the windows. Yeah, so Robert pulled up a great kind of diagram as some good spots. So bathroom, especially in a bathroom tub, is a great spot. Under stairwells, hallways, indoor closets, some great spots to get in and hunker down in during these storms.
All right, so I'm going to grab that camera that we were just talking about here and see if anything's kind of changing on it. Again, a little bit darker coming in from the, looks like the right side of the camera here. We're going to continue to jump back in. That one's not looking all too terrifying at the moment, which is good. Hopefully the clouds stay elevated and it gives us some ground truth that this is starting to lift up here. But kind of going back to the couplet, and this is our velocity scan. Yeah, Hortense Church there is where we did have that camera, and you can see just to the left of it along 32. That is, let's see.
Have we gotten any reports out of the National Weather Service?
No, the only thing they're talking about is what we were saying, that strong rotation being indicated here on radar. It is fortunately and unfortunately a rural area, so not a lot of people being impacted, but we're not getting that ground truth maybe from reports. Not to say people here don't matter, my goodness. That's why we're breaking in here and making sure, even though this is not impacting downtown Jacksonville, we want to make sure everybody's staying safe here because this is a pretty clear rotation. We did have that tornado watch actually earlier on today. It since expired right at 6 o'clock, and now we are seeing, still kind of the remnants of this kicking off stuff. Just pulling up that CC scan, it's still throwing a little bit of clutter just north and west of that couplet. You kind of agree that's a little bit of clutter there? Or you think
yeah, a little bit. And obviously, we saw in that picture out of the Waycross area, there were some strong winds, so that kind of mixed in with the rain. Any sort of leaves that get picked up, you can start to see perhaps just a little bit of something trying to be depicted on the radar. So based off of what we're seeing, I don't at least see anything on the ground, but certainly still assume and act as if there was one. This is still a storm that is capable of producing a tornado here, Robert. So
yeah, let's jump back to their camera. We're kind of bouncing back and forth here. We'll jump back to our camera. Of course, if you are out ahead of this, Hortense area, yeah, actually right there on the top of the screen. Might be hard to see. We are starting to see a little of the scud work their way into the camera here.
Yeah, there's certainly some rotation within that.
You see it?
You can almost see it. So right here, folks. So that's the scud. So that's some of those lowering clouds. And you can kind of see that mid-level rotation. So right there's the mid-level cyclone that you're trying to look at. So,
and this should be, well, let's go back to our velocity. Yeah, this is passing where that couplet is right now. So it's at the crossroads of 32 and 301 there. So we would be seeing rotation visually. If you are in the Hortense area east of Patterson, you would be seeing rotation out there right now. And I'll jump back to our camera so we can throw this on the full screen so we can get a good look at it here with that scud kind of building in.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we have any capabilities, try to do a box-in-box here so we can show this and the radar. I'm not sure if we can upstairs, but if we can, that would certainly tell the best story. So strong winds, you can see the trees blowing there, but yeah, Robert, you can definitely tell there is at least some rotation within the clouds. Those clouds are
the wind picking up there.
Yes, getting much lower there.
Yeah, if we can throw the max 1 and 2, if we could do a side-by-side on them, I can jump over to the other graphics. But we definitely want to keep this one up because it's pulling it up right, and it's moving over them right this moment.
Yeah, that is a bit of a worrying sign for those folks there.
And especially with that scud kind of moving in.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just one angle. It is on our weather stem camera here.
But right there at the top of the tree line, I mean, that's what we're talking about. When you start to see those kind of whispering clouds getting much closer to the ground.
And once again, if you are just tuning in at this very moment, I'm going to jump back and forth until we get that 2 box up, and we can go max 1 and max 2 on this. But basically, What we have going on right now is we have a tornado warning. This is until 7:45, so another 15 minutes. This is just right on the edge of the Jacksonville viewing area, but it did start just right over Waycross, moving towards the north. Everybody counts, friends. So even though this is not hitting Jacksonville, we got clear rotation on it. We got that live camera out of Hortense that is showing pretty intense conditions there. It's starting to pick up. It's going to be moving over you right this moment, just showing this move towards the north and east. There's your tornado warning. Here, just more north of Nahunta. Excuse me, let's jump back to that. Just north of Nahunta, south of Jessup, that is until 7:45 p.m. You want to get into your safe space. If you are in any of those areas, especially along 301 here, south of Jessup, north of Nahunta, and there you go, right here, Ross.
Yeah, so right there, I mean, that's what we're talking about, those lowering clouds. So we literally saw this come in from pretty much overhead. Big old bolt and flash of lightning there.
Yeah, you just saw that?
Yeah. If you look close, you can certainly tell that the clouds are moving around a little bit right in here.
Yeah, it's hard to see, but you can see at least
because this is looking off to the west.
Yeah, I'm
right?
going to assume that's what it's doing. It feels like the storm kind of came in overhead here. I think we're actually looking north.
Okay.
Well, with the sun right there, the sun would be towards the west, and we got a lot of sunlight. This has to be looking west.
But those clouds are moving from the left side of your screen to the right side of your screen.
Yeah, so you're right. I think we are looking west just based on all the sunlight we're seeing there.
Robert, can you switch over to Max 2?
Yes.
Quick and change that
Yeah,
view
yeah,
so we can get them side by side perfect.
Yeah, because that couplet, that cone there is just a little bit old. Just give me a moment. This is pulling up here. All right, so we're going to...
But yeah, pretty much right in that slot between the trees where the sun is shining, kind of ironic. Yeah, it really gives a great view of those clouds moving. So you have that mid-level, or at least now low-level rotation. Again, that's moving from the left side of your screen to the right, that counterclockwise rotation. So that is exactly where that mesocyclone is. If there would be a tornado to develop or to be produced from the storm, we have a great shot right there in the valley of the trees to show you where exactly that would be. And Robert's doing a great job of showing you also on velocity where that couplet is, right on the county line, about to move into Wayne County.
And I just put up a track here. We can kind of point this out, just giving an idea of where this couplet is, and this is moving east-northeast at 55 miles per hour. That's based on the warning from the National Weather Service. Hortense is where, if we have that camera, it's basically right under where that couplet is.
Yeah.
And I know we're asking a lot of you guys upstairs. Can you throw that back on the full screen, the actual camera? I just want to kind of see if we have any rotation there, just visually. But the point is, this is moving towards the north there. The same cell actually just moved through Waycross a moment ago. Sorry, Ross, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, that is, and now you can actually see the clouds almost looking like they're moving from right to left now. It's changed. I thought earlier it was coming in from the left. The point is, there's broad rotation.
And that makes sense now that it's moved overhead, so you're going to get that opposite wind direction starting to come on in here.
That's our ground truth that it may not be a tornado, but definitely rotation within the cloud.
The trees themselves are also now moving in the opposite direction.
Yeah, because earlier they were blowing away from the camera, and now they're kind of blowing towards the camera. Really just great visual here for everybody out in that area.
Still, right here is the area that we're looking there. So if something would be trying to produce, I mean, there are some pretty low clouds rolling in there. That is a lot of scud being shown.
And if you're asking at home, like, why don't you move the camera? Move it and show me. We unfortunately, this is a static camera. Fortunately, it is pointing kind of right where we want it to be looking right now. But this is a static camera at this time. Actually, I might try to pull up our camera out of Anderson and see if we can point it towards the north just to get a general idea. I don't know if, Jimmy, if you can do that from over there, but that would be fantastic. Let's go back up to that side-by-side, though. Let's get that kind of velocity kind of scan here and just show you where our tornado warning is right now. Once again, Brantley, Glenn, Wayne County. So if you're just tuning in, this is on the northern extent. I'll try to.
And Glenn County just got added to this warning. So far northern Glenn County got included.
Yeah, and let's pull back the picture, though.
Yep, there you go.
Because, you know, this is just southeast of Jessup, Brunswick area. And not to say, you know, Brunswick and Darien, I know we got a lot of people watching there. Not to say you're going to miss this tornado warning, but there is still more cells behind this that are kind of a little notches, a little interesting. At least some thunderstorms are still going to be rolling into your neighborhood in the next hour or so. And then on top of all that, since we got you here, I don't want to just focus too much on that, because if you are in Sanderson, all the way down through Union, Bradford County, showers moving towards the east, the Clay County Fair's going on out here in Clay County. Obviously, those showers are going to be working their way in the next hour. We even had some storms around St. Augustine earlier on today, kicking off some lightning as well. So this is not a shield rainfall event. It's the sporadic kind of hit and misses, bits with it, and yeah, this is definitely the highlight of these storms right now, is out here in Brantley Glen and Wayne County, just north of Nahunta.
Yeah, now this has kind of formed into just a bit of a bowed line segment now, kind of broken away from the rest of the line of the storms, Robert. So not so much of a discrete cell anymore, but very much so just kind of within that line itself. So if you're just now tuning in, tornado warning for northern Brantley, southern Wayne, and then far northern Glenn counties. That goes until 8 p.m. So this has been a storm that has produced some very, very gusty winds. It was warned, or is still, for upwards of 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. That's just straight line winds that out of the downdraft, but also certainly does have a significant tornado risk with it as well. This was a shot that we've been watching, so you can see the sun has completely disappeared. Looks like the winds are still blowing at least a little bit, but some very, very heavy rainfall now coming down here,
yeah,
Robert.
It looks like they kind of passed over the core there in the Hortense area. So now heading off towards the Townsend area here into Wayne County. So it really is the call for everybody upstairs. If you do want to get back to your normal programming, this is exiting what we call our DMA, our area where we monitor these storms. What do you think, Ross? I mean, it is still a very real tornado warning.
Yeah.
But if you're watching from home, this isn't probably going to be impacting anybody here in the Jacksonville area as this moves off towards the north. With that said, I would still very much want to continue to stream this and follow it on FCN Plus. What do you guys, Ross, what do you think here?
Can we at least to start just zoom out and show the whole picture
Yes.
one last time?
Yeah, let's do that.
And give it some time. Has the National Weather Service said anything more about this and what they're seeing within the storm itself?
No, not at this time. They still have that kind of tornado warning in place. They're going to continue to run it, but they haven't elaborated more so than what we've already been hearing here.
Okay, so right here is where that strongest line is, that tornado warned storm still moving off to the northeast very, very quickly at least 50, if not 55 miles per hour. Southward or extended southward from there, we do kind of have those scattered showers and downpours here and there moving through Baker, Union, Bradford County. So as you heard Robert mention, Clay County Fair likely going to see at least a little bit of some rain here later on. In Gainesville, our very own meteorologist Lee Southwick is there for the Florida Gators watch party. Also, we'll likely see some rain. And then just Jacksonville and the metro area itself, we have generally been dry nearly all day long and this evening, but we will at least begin to see some showers, if not some rumbles of thunder, as we head really post 8 p.m. and closer to 9, 10, and 11. So rain will be on the way, but I would say areas along and south of I-10, the overall severe weather risk is going to be much, much lower. That tornado watch was for inland southeast Georgia. That's where we have seen the strongest storms, the gustiest winds, the heaviest downpours, and really the only warnings all day long have been where that watch was in place. So kudos to the Storm Prediction Center and National Weather Service office here in Jax. But yeah, this is the storm that we have been watching. Tornado warned until 8 p.m. It is now out of Pierce and almost out of Brantley County. So just that very northern extent of Glenn County is included in that. So I am perfectly comfortable with sending this back to programming if you are, Robert.
Anybody up in the control room would like to talk to us, just let me know. Are we gonna, we're gonna stay on? Okay, I was gonna say if we want to toss to FCN Plus, or you want to stay on. All right. All right, so I was just told we're going to stay on. I mean, it's the World News Tonight that I believe is airing right now. So we're going to just continue to kind of keep people safe here, just north of Nahunta where we have this. So we're staying on now until 8 o'clock. We have this tornado warning still in place. This was extended, now heading out towards the Townsend area, west of Darien, north and west of Brunswick. Nahunta, you're still in it. I mean, you are still getting impacted here as well. In fact, I'll just pull up the camera out of Nahunta. Let's take a look at that here. While I'm pulling it up, Ross, do you mind just jumping in here?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that area of rotation is just now to almost due west of Patterson. So it is solely in Wayne County. So if it does hit Glenn County, it will be on that very, very northern end. We're pretty much right along Highway 25 there. So if you live down in Brunswick and you're here in Glenn County, you're okay. That tornado warning is likely going to move just off to your north there by a good bit. Now, extended southward from there, so the storms over Nahunta, they will eventually roll through the I-95 corridor near the Brunswick area. So not to say you won't still see some storms, but at least this tornado warned storm is going to be well off to your north and northwest.
Yeah, just trying to pull up something out of that area just ahead of the storms here. Trying to get a good idea of...
Would you be able to pop this up on velocity quick, Robert?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So we can show folks where exactly it is. So that is, now we are getting quite a good bit away from the radar beam itself, but that is a promising sign that the overall area of rotation, whether it was in the low levels or just the mid levels themselves, has begun to broaden out and weaken here a little bit. So right there where Robert's showing you, putting a nice track on this downstream. So
almost like a secondary couplet popping up just east of Nahunta there.
Yeah,
too.
Well, there's a couple areas of rotation kind of within the entire line. So I just talked about, right to the west or north, or not west,
I think right
east
in there
and northeast of Nahunta, there's a little bit of some rotation
that
there.
Right
yeah,
there,
I mean,
right?
all along that line. Actually, why don't we just put a whole line along here, Robert?
Yeah,
and line
I
everyone
gotcha.
downstream instead of just the cone.
All right, I'm going to pull it up here. Got this moving towards the north and west about 50 miles per hour. So we'll grab this, because there's a lot of like little notches in here.
Yeah.
It is no wonder. So we'll
And this was something Robert and I talked about on FCN Plus earlier today, was as these storms moved closer and closer to the coast, do they happen to get a little bit of these notches just due to that sea breeze convergence? So those winds coming off the ocean, does that enhance it a little bit just with regards to the low level rotation? And certainly so, I think that's kind of what we're seeing here this evening. So there's your times: Pendarvis until 7:44, Talman until 7:53, Townsend until 8 p.m., where this warning goes till, Zuda until 8:01, and South Newport until 8:10. So not only this the tornado warned storm here, but the entire long line of storms could certainly pack a punch, upwards of at least 40, if not 50 mile per hour wind gusts here, Robert.
Yeah, and just trying to pull up a camera out of Townsend right now. Not quite, I mean, this is it's a traffic camera, so hopefully, let me see if I can pull it up here real quick for you. Yeah, not quite hitting there just yet. I think that's our closest to where we're kind of seeing this at the moment push through. Yeah, it's...
And again, we are looking
like
very high up in the radar beam, so this is no longer, very close to the ground.
Yeah, and it almost looks like that couplet is, it maybe is because it's so elevated, it almost looks like that couplet is falling apart, which is good news. And what I mean by that is, it's getting less and less tight, less and less organized, which would be a clear and good indicator. This is going to be a little bit off, so I apologize here. I'm just trying to switch the velocity radar. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's a good indicator that I think this is weakening here, which is fantastic. Ross, I mean, if you want to kind of back me up here, maybe just north in, just north of Nahunta here, it's not showing those clear notches we were seeing earlier. I wouldn't be surprised.
Robert, will you switch it to max 1?
Yeah, I'm on. Oh, pardon me.
There we go.
I thank you very much, Ross, for pointing out there. We have two cameras. We're kind of running right now. You saw that I was working on the other one. So yeah, there's still 7:45, but I see this as just overall weakening. I wouldn't be surprised if this does expire in just a few moments here.
Yeah, and especially considering it's just the one. Did they shrink that down a little bit?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
extended further north too.
Yeah. So Glenn County no longer included in that. So Pierce
Yeah.
and Brantley still are. Yeah.
Okay, it does look like actually, pardon me, Ross, I think they did cancel that tornado warning for northwestern Glen, north central Brantley, and south.
Okay.
Now,
So this now just runs for about another 30 seconds until 7:45, I believe.
7:45, yeah. Yeah, it looks like they canceled that one. So this one's going to go until 7:45. So basically, they canceled the one that was out ahead of this. Just saying, this is weakening, it's falling apart. So we're going to give it one more minute here, and this is going to fall off.
Let's just zoom out one last time here if they do allow this to expire to show the broad story. So the cold front is still just off to our northwest. All of this is prefrontal convection and storm activity. Here, Robert put a great little time lapse on. So strongest storms continuing to make their way through southeast Georgia. There are, though, some showers, some downpours, perhaps an isolated storm trying to fire up across northeast Florida. So Baker, Union, Bradford, you all are seeing at least a few isolated showers and downpours right now. All of us will see some rain, some scattered showers, a few rumbles of thunder here throughout the rest of this evening. And we will continue to be on your side of watching for that storm and severe weather risk. Looks like they replaced that tornado warning with a severe thunderstorm warning for Brantley, Glenn, and Wayne counties. That goes until 8:15. So since the tornado warning has now been expired, we're going to send you guys back to programming. But of course, stay tuned to First Coast News and to First Coast News Plus for all of the latest information and details on the forecast.
Hi there, friends. Excuse me. Meteorologist Robert Speta. We were just on air here on the First Coast News, covering this tornado warning that started just right over Waycross here. In fact, we can just pull up the velocity and I'll give you a good idea of this. So let's go back over the past hour. We had this tornado warning just basically right over Waycross. Fairly tight couplet was being indicated there. And we have just gotten information here to the news studio. It does look like somebody is saying tornado confirmed on the ground south and west of Hortense, so just east of Waycross. So despite, this being outside of the Jacksonville area, our job is to keep people safe and informed, and it does look like we did have that confirmed tornado on the ground there, southwest of Hortense. So it would have been right about there on a velocity scan, just around 720. Then crossed 301. We were live, actually, on air watching the images there, and the scud clouds kind of pushing overhead. And then it's now moving towards the north and east. So we did have, it looks like, a confirmed visual tornado. Just based on reports we're getting into the newsroom right now, just towards the north and east of Waycross, east of Blackshear, and now this storm is still severe thunderstorm warned. So that's why we're still jumping on here on FCN Plus, keeping you posted as this moves ahead here. And we got that severe thunderstorm warning until 8:30 p.m. for Liberty, Long, and McIntosh County. This, of course, is well north of Jacksonville. I get it, but that's why we like to come here on the digital side of things, because we can continue to track these storms through the rest of this evening here. And if we pull back the picture, there's also more cells popping up here west of Jacksonville. Over the McClenny area, Union and Bradford also got some storms. Now, these are not severe. They're decent lines. The sun is set, so we have a little bit of less instability here as well. So good news with that. I mean, I think that, I think that those aren't going to go too severe. I'm sorry. I just want to let everybody know. All right, we came on for the tornado warning as this was exiting the DMA, though. I'm getting messages, just absolutely angry that we were covering a tornado that seemed to have been confirmed. That's our job here, and I do apologize. We broke into world news for that. I just got a very nasty message just now, and. It's part of our job. I know it's not in the Jacksonville area, but if your house one day, unfortunately, has a tornado headed towards it, I do hope somebody, you're always on your side to make sure a tornado warning and details on that is in place for you, even if it's not affecting everybody else. Just absolute nasty messages coming in right now of us covering this. That's heartbreaking. Anyways, let's go back to, I just recoup my thoughts here. North and west of Tallman, southwest of Townsend. This is where we did have that tornado warning just a few moments ago. Just another message just came in. And there's still a little bit of broad rotation in there, but it's nothing too tight, too serious there as well. You can kind of see that right in there. Almost a little bit of a mesocyclone. In fact, I'll try to pull up the images here for you. All right, so just right over Townsend. Let's see if I can play this out just for you here as well. All right, let's see if here we go. Try to pull up the camera angle here for you. So nothing too crazy actually out of Townsend right now. It kind of gives you a good image that this is falling apart, even though there are severe thunderstorm warning conditions. Probably going to go downhill pretty quickly there in the next few minutes. But storm fairly consolidated, I'll tell you that. You look at the broad shield of cells, you got a lot of rain back towards the west, almost back building along the I-10 corridor. And just north and west of Brunswick, you got some heavier cells kind of kicking on through there as well. Just did get a message somebody saying that they were happy that we were on there covering the tornado. So let me see. There's some people that I do appreciate our coverage here. Moving out towards the I-95 corridor, though, and I'm going to try to pull up actually some weather cameras out of there in just a moment. But key thing is this, even though it is not tornado warned anymore, it's still considered a severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to go to about 8:15, 8:30 p.m. Crossing I-95 north of Brunswick. So any of our friends out in Brunswick, you're about to head north on I-95. It's going to be a kind of a bumpy ride there. I mean, this is indicating about 60-mile-per-hour winds. In fact, I'll pull up the velocity once again. Maybe we can get a good idea of what the ground truth is. Yeah, it's not that strong. Let's pull up the full screen here, just so I can get off the camera here. But you can see right there, kind of have the winds. You know, it's 65 miles per hour. I put that off right here. So about 65-mile-per-hour winds being radar indicated north of Tolman, west of Darien. So even though this is not a tornado warning, it is still a severe thunderstorm warning, and strong enough to definitely, knock off some shingles on your roof. Lawn furniture could get tossed around, things like that. So it is still packing a bit of a punch here. I'm gonna try to pull up our cameras off of I-95 though. I don't know why I don't have any. That's a little interesting. Let's see if I, here's one on I-95. I don't know why they're not all popping up right now. That's weird. But this one is looking, it looks like south towards the storm. The sun's starting to set, so it's going to be hard to kind of get a good visual on some of these like we did have just a few moments ago. But yeah, you can kind of get yeah, that's terrible. That's a terrible look. It's going to be hard to kind of look at anything right now. And that's the other thing with these storms coming in right now. It is going to reduce obvious visibility as it starts to push overhead. But let's pull back the picture here. And also, are we streaming on our social media platforms? Am I alone in here? I think I am. My goodness. I think somebody stepped out. So I'm going to try to... I'm going to try to pull up our social media right now here and see if I can check in on some of the comments here. Oh, yeah, we are still on the same stream that we did have just a moment ago. And Angela says, we appreciate you guys, and so does Christy. Thank you very much, guys. I truly appreciate it. Yeah, it's the nasty comments I'm getting right now, absolutely heartbreaking, that are being sent to my personal page. Despite the fact, multiple times I did say, hey, I think this is leaving our DMA, but all right, it's part of the job. We got to make sure people do stay safe here. So right now, though, storms moving towards north and east. I didn't realize you were outside of the room. With storms moving towards north and east, north of Brunswick, kind of kicking off there south of Savannah. Ooh, somebody says there's a lot of static there. Sam says there's a lot of static there, Jackson. I don't know if you can hear that. Do you hear static? Okay, Sam, I'm sorry. It might be on your end, and I do apologize. I just asked our technical peeps behind the camera here if they hear anything on their end. They don't really got anything at this moment.
No, there is.
Oh, you do hear it?
Yeah.
All right. Do you think it's the mic? Do we need to kind of switch stations here?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Can you go full screen so I can get up and walk over? I'm going to... All right, so hopefully that fixed the static. I just jumped up and went to a separate workstation. So right now I'm actually, if you notice, I'm kind of looking down. It's because I'm trying to pull up the storm report. Somebody just asked, was there a confirmed tornado in Waycross? And the answer to that is Yes. I don't know about extent of damage or anything like that, but we did have a storm spotter say, so it's not posted here just yet. We do have damage reports though. What is going on here? So let's pull this up. Just over Waycross, Ware County at 7:04, so that would have been during the tornado warning. Sunnyside and Ware County, apologize for that. That might have been a big bang. Reports of trees down on Camelot Drive in the vicinity of Waycross. Time of damage based on radar data. So it does look like we do have damage reports in Waycross. I don't know if you want to pass that on to our reporters outside. I know they're waiting, standing by. Also, 911 dispatcher saying a downed trees along, or power lines down along U.S. Highway 84 in the vicinity of Patterson as well. So it looks like Patterson area just north of Waycross, getting those damage. We also had a wind report, a high wind report. It looks like, I think that's out of the airport there, 40 miles per hour. That was at 4:04. So these two wind damage reports, looks like that did take place, and that was right along the path that we were tracking here on radar with you. First on FCN Plus, and then we switched over to the live stream. And in fact, okay, so get a picture here of where this damage is. So you see that's basically around Route 84. Now where I'm going to pull up velocity, I'm going to loop it back, and you can just see where the couplet, so see the couplet right here, it's just south of Waycross. There's a rotation right in there. You kind of see where that is, so a lot of the reds and greens going against each other. And now we're going to follow this north and east along Route 84, heading towards Jessup. And watch this, that's where you had that damage there just around Patterson. 7:04, it would have been right there. So that lines up perfectly where we're getting that wind damage. Then this move towards north and east. We're doing a little post analysis here. That would have been about 7:30. You see how that couplet moved off. Now it did taper off right in there, but we did actually, somebody said that they may have seen a funnel cloud around Hortense. That's 301 right there. That would have been right aligned where we did see that broad rotation. So yes, this is why, to the chagrin of a lot of people, it feels like this is why we come on air. It may not be hitting your house today, but one day it will, and we're always going to be on your side, kind of tracking these storms, and hopefully we kept somebody safe here. Maybe it might have been somebody in a small town up in the woods there, just north of Nahunta, or just north and east of Waycross along Route 84. And not to float our own boat here, but I'm going to do it anyways. We came on the air about 15 to 20 minutes on FCN Plus at least, tracking this. We said, I hit a wrong button. We said that this line was looking interesting. We saw maybe some debris flying in the air on our CC scan. And then after we came on the air, after we were already on there 15, 20 minutes tracking this cell, saying probably rotation, a tornado warning popped right over Waycross, and it does look like a confirmed tornado based on reports we're getting at this moment. This is just somebody, it looks like dispatch out there saying they saw something. We don't have a survey out there just yet. We're not getting the confirmed extra confirmation here, so I just want to stress that. But my point is, this is why, if you're watching right now, you're watching FCN Plus, you're doing the right thing, which is why, you know, we want you to watch us on this channel, because we were able to cut in, get that extra information, and hopefully help you out as much as we possibly can. Actually, Kimberly Cutler just sent us a nice email and said we would appreciate your coverage here with the storm system. So it's a mixed bag that we are getting here, but I am happy to see some people kind of chiming in, and hopefully we're helping you guys out with that, because we were able to get this 15 to 20 minutes before the tornado warning popped, tracking it, and hopefully giving people enough heads up to get somewhere safe ahead of the storm, because that's our job, and that's what we do as meteorologists here, not only at First Coast News, but all around the country, wherever there's a meteorologist broadcasting. So Hey, you know what? We're talking about the severe thunderstorm warning. That's until 8:30 p.m. But I just want to remind you, if you are in Brunswick, for example, may not be severe warned, but we also have this line of showers kind of kicking on through right now. A couple of flashes of lightning popping up there. But even for Jacksonville, we'll go down to the south. You got some lightning kind of broad line right there, too. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let's pull up our camera over downtown Jacksonville. Let's see if I can look off towards the north and west. I think this might be a good broad view. Now, it might be a little bit too dark to see it. Ooh, yeah, hold on. All right, okay, hold on. This is going to be a pretty cool image. I'll share it with you here. So there's all that lightning kicking off, just western areas of Nassau County, western Duval County. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the camera here for you, looking from downtown Jacksonville towards the north and west. Well, maybe I should play it out. That's still a bad camera view out of southeast Georgia. I'm going to play out the camera. Let's see if this flips over here for you. That's currently just north and west of Brunswick, where they are getting some heavy rainfall. But hopefully, yes, I do want you to play it out. Having a little technical difficulties here. We'll get to it. I think I got it this time. There we go. All right, so let's do a little analysis together here, friends. So this is just off of Southside, actually. If you've ever been on Southside, and you see kind of those tall towers there, just south Beach Boulevard, Southside Boulevard area, those are our transmission towers. And on the top of that, we have a nice camera here that we can scroll around and kind of see what's going on. So right now, I'm looking towards the north, and we have a few kind of good views here. So what you see there is almost a shelf cloud out ahead of this. Those are our thunderstorms actually out in that direction. Because right now we're due north, so let's go more north and west. Now you can see one of our transmission towers here kind of blocking things off. But you can see north and west. That's that line that if we go... Okay, that if we go towards back towards our radar here, we can kind of see this line pushing into Nassau and Duval County. Just want to confirm, just once again, we haven't gotten the official confirmation from the National Weather Service yet. It does look like somebody is saying they sent to us that they saw a tornado. Sometimes that can be misleading, so I just want to stress that. Sometimes people see Scud and they say it was a tornado. The timing of it is very suspicious. It could have just been inflow into a storm, but it does look like, based on everything I'm seeing right now, we may have had a tornado. Sam's saying the static's bad again here. I don't know if you hear that, Jackson. Yeah, everybody's saying for the last 6-7 minutes the static is back. Oh, yeah, okay. All right. So I'm sorry about the static, guys. We're having mad technical issues today. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to loop the radar. We're going to figure this out, but we don't have any warnings in place right now. If we do, we'll jump back on. I appreciate the support and everything that you guys are sending our way. Just a real quick, if you are in Brunswick and you can hear me through the static, you got a pretty good line of storms pushing through right now. A lot of lightning coming out of that. It's probably going to kick off some 40, 50 mile per hour winds, but nothing is severe warned at this time, but we're still going to be monitoring this. So I do apologize for the static. I don't want to ruin your ears here, so I'm going to sign off, but we're going to keep a radar loop going so you can continue to track it here with us. Thank you guys so much for stopping on by. And if you did, I know it's static is bad, but if you did find this useful, send us a message. Because we're getting a lot of hate for covering this tornado, even though it was in a rural area of southeast Georgia. Southeast Georgia is on the first coast. I personally feel like everybody counts, but you know, just give me a shout. All right. Anyways, thanks for watching.